Well, if you're seeing this, I feel like I'm filming a captain's log at this point because who knows what's going to happen at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're seeing this, we all survived the big event, and it is now 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is time to go running. Forrest yesterday left a comment. He said, I don't run. Maybe we're running towards something. Forrest, not running away. I get the comment though. Let's go running. Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you for watching, for listening, for hitting a thumbs up, and for subscribing to the channel. It's truly appreciated. Welcome to the rundown. There are a lot of things that we could be talking about right now. The Speaker of the House got put on his rear end last night. Nancy Pelosi, the Wicked Witch, they have actually vacated her from her office. And I love it. They took the witch's shoes and the bike, like on Wizard of Oz, threw it out in the hallway. They're like, get out of here, you witch. But the rundown is all about you. This is your chat. We're going to be covering the comments from this morning. And I've dubbed the video commando because I saw that comment probably 200 times in between the live chat and the replay crowd. We'll get into it though. Let's start with the live chat this morning. We were talking about the silent depression, which is just a great depression in sheep's clothing because Joe Biden and politicians will not admit that we are in a great depression. Tracy K says she is worried about the meeting between, she said she wasn't worried about the alert test, and she is worried about the Russia-Ukraine meeting that is happening later this month. Excellent post, Tracy. As that meeting gets closer, we will cover it on Prepper Nation. We'll kind of break it down. Now I'm going to have to fish all over the place for information on that meeting because mainstream media is not going to give us the cut and dry of it. They're going to spin the crap out of it. But I'll do my best, okay? Jonathan Hicks, who used to be Michael Jordan over here, he is an OG. What's up, brother? Thank you for being in chat this morning. How many of you know phone numbers without your phones? Excellent comment. Because I've been ranting on, smartphones and things for the past few days, admittedly. And he's saying, look, and he makes an excellent point. Most people don't have vital information written down. And this is an important prep. We have ours on the side of the refrigerator. Yes, we have the important stuff written down, but it's also a free prep. So thank you for bringing that up. It's something that people can do free of charge. Go through their phone, write the stuff down that's important, and put it somewhere where you can find it just in case. And again, commando. I just wrote down commando and an exclamation mark. Saw it a couple of hundred times. And I did not realize how many of y'all filthy beaverines are out there going commando. We were talking this morning about an economic expert saying it's a really bad sign when when they're not buying underwear, when the breadwinners of the home are not wearing underwear and buying new underwear. It's indicative that they can't afford to, because that's I think the point he was trying to make is that's one of the last things that you throw the white flag up on. Like, you gotta have toothpaste, deodorant, and underwear. And when your underwear is wearing out and you can't afford to buy underwear to replace them with, that's a really bad sign that there's no money. There's no expendable income in the households. But yeah, apparently half of our community wears no underwear. Like, we don't have a bad enough rap in this community already. Y'all like, what underwear? I haven't worn underwear in 30 years. Cogito, you mean bad government and bad policies are hurting the economy? Yes, Cogito, that's exactly what I mean. And I sense sarcasm there because I think you probably already know that. Self-inflicted. One of the biggest reasons that Biden and our current Congress, they're not going to come out and say, hey, we're in a Great Depression, right? Because he took over for Donald Trump. And think about whatever you will about Donald Trump, but the economy was humming. Even when the pandemic first hit, the economy was humming. Trump may have his faults, but the economy was not one of them. And as it stands, it's Biden versus Trump. That's probably going to change, but Biden versus Trump. So the left is not going to come out and say, we took an economy that was humming along and we threw it in the gutter, because political damage, right? So they would rather pretend like everything's okay and not care about people that are suffering and hope those people hate Trump so much that they'll continue to be gaslit. But of course, you already know that. Mike McDonald and Roy Batty, similar comments. They were talking about Chicago. Roy Batty, I believe, said in Chicago right now, illegals, there's so many illegals there, but some of them are dealing narcotics to kids in Chicago openly. And Mike McDonald was just saying they're everywhere. They're overrunning Chicago. And as I said this months ago. At first, to me, it was funny, okay, because Greg Abbott in Texas, I think he was the first one to do it. He started busting them elsewhere. He said, we're tired of him in Texas. We're not dealing with it. We're just going to throw him here, throw him here. But the problem continues. All right. And actually, he's inflicting damage by doing this at this point because he's just bringing these illegals deeper and deeper into our country when he needs to be busing them the hell out of the country and back to where they came from or some random place in South America, right? But I don't know. It's a problem in cities right now, as we said this morning, and border towns. But it's going to very soon become a problem in rural America because you can't hold them all in cities. The cities can't fund this, right? So they're going to begin to bus them from Chicago to somewhere in Ohio, some small town here and here and here. Replacement theory is real, folks. Tori Searcy, we are a household of 6 and we pay more for food than rent. So that was another thing from the article that we covered this morning, how food is such a major expense here in the United States right now. People will still argue there's food inflation is not that bad. Like, what are you living with your grandma in her basement? Food inflation is bad, son. If you're buying your own groceries, especially in a situation where you have multiple kids, you understand what I'm talking about. Either that or you're sitting on a pile like Warren Buffett, as they say, and you don't have to worry about it. Nancy Pelosi, not to speak her name again, but look, she's rich. This lady's been lining her pockets for 150 years in Congress. She didn't have to worry about food inflation. People like this don't have to worry about food inflation. We do. The working class in this country, it's killing us, financially speaking. And thank you for sharing that, Tori. Daniel Salak. Oh, this is weird. He says $30 for flip-flops now is high to me. Brother, let me tell you something. Before I spend $30 on a pair of flip-flops, I'm going barefoot. Like, what is it? Cody on Dual Survivor. I would literally walk around like Caveman James before I'm paying $30 for flip-flops. My wife may get them behind my back for herself or our kids and me not know about it, but I'm never willingly going to pay $30 for a pair of flip-flops. For me, flip-flops are $2. You go into your Dollar General, you getting ready to head out to the lake for the day. Hey, look, man, I'm about to wear these things plumb out, and then I'm just going to keep them till they fall apart. And then I've been known to duct tape them. I came into an incredible deal, not to bore y'all, one time on a pair of Under Armours, which I still have, by the way. They were like $16 on clearance because size 14, right? Nobody's putting feet in those but me. So I buy them, and after years of use, they start to wear out. The old duct tape comes out because it's much cheaper than $30. And finally, live crowd, James Jenkins, learn different ways to use leftovers. Exactly. So being real, Americans, we waste food. Not us. but I'm saying Americans in general. There's a lot of food waste in this country. Some of that is a lot of that is gonna be your restaurants just dumping food at the end of the night. Some of that is gonna be grocery stores, the stuff ran out, they couldn't get the price down low enough, so they're just eating the cost, writing it off on their taxes, right? But a lot of your average zombie Joes and Janes out here, they waste food. Um, we don't. Miss Nation don't tolerate that. If she's making a good vegetable beef soup, she makes a great one, by the way, she'll make a huge pot of this stuff, like she's feeding the 5th Cavalry or something, a regiment of soldiers, and I know as soon as I smell it, I'll be in the living room like, and I know, okay, we got vegetable beef soup tonight and for lunch tomorrow and for lunch the next day. It don't fly with her, and it's a great trait to have, honestly. Replay crowd. I need some what seeing eyeglasses. Shane Dutton. Me and my wife eat cheap. No more eating out. I think besides excellent comment, and we're right there with you. We eat out probably once a month, and we're very particular now about where we're going. We're not rolling the dice on some restaurant we've never been to. A lot of times it's a Cracker Barrel, because we like what we like there, but we don't do it very often. And we're saving as much as we can on groceries and stuff. But I think besides the underwear and toothpaste and deodorant, when you start to see Americans not eating out anymore or very little, because Americans were spoiled. We're used to eating out once a week, many of us, or we used to be, sometimes multiple times a week. When that begins to stop, there's zero denying that we're in a Great Depression. Great comment. Jose Rodriguez, there's no shame. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jose. I'll get to you next. Ellen Dawson, there's no shame in asking for help if you need it. Absolutely not. And I hope that I've not given that impression on this channel because to shoot straight with you, Ellen, everybody's been there. I think most people at least have been there. I certainly have. Um, there's no shame in it. If there's help available and you are trying, absolutely go get whatever help you can. My issue is, and hopefully I've been clear about this, but if not, let me be clear about this. My issue is people showing up from other countries that are not supposed to be here getting the free ride, Lexus style. You know what I mean? They have no worries. They have no concerns. To give you an example, man, we have good insurance because my wife works really hard and like half of her check goes for insurance for the family. And we will go and, if they have to run tests and things, we still have a massive copay. Or if we go to get certain medications, we have a pretty high copay. I mean, it's low compared to the other plans that are available to us, but still, when you're paying $200 on top of insurance for a visit to like a Med Express or a Minute Clinic, that's 200 bucks. You know what I'm saying? My issue is people that aren't even supposed to be here pay 0. They pay the big goose egg on top of everything else. And people that just refuse to work. You know what I mean? Having kids and being on welfare is a career for these folks, and they're out there. I think there's shame in that. There's no shame in needing help, but making charity a career choice. There's not a lot of pride in that for me. Okay, Jose Rodriguez. I'm sorry again, brother. We have 5 kids, 5 children, as he put it. 3 of them are still at home. Food is one of the biggest expenses they have. So, yeah, just brother, understand you're not alone in this. All right. Everybody that has kids out there, again, they're getting hammered financially. And I think a lot of people are sitting around waiting for it to let up a little bit, but it's not going to let up. If we get a competent president that knows the economy, if we got Trump back in there, you would see chaos in other areas. Economically, it would start to let up. But there's a lot of hoops to jump through before we get a Trump back in office. I pray he gets back in there just for the economy alone. Um, Andy and Boogie, why are Berkey filters suspect? So I'd mentioned this a week or two ago, and they're saying now that Berkey filters are not safe, right? Like tap water is. When I brought that up, we still use our Berkey and the Berkey filters. I have no issue with it. The water is much cleaner and it tastes a lot better than what would come out of the tap. But because I don't know if it's the EPA or who, which three-letter agency is coming after Berkey now, it's almost like they don't want you to filter the water, right? It's getting harder to find the filters and the Berkeys and things. Um, so they are coming after that company for whatever reason. Karen Green, money not safe in the bank since the Dodd-Frank Act. So if I'm not mistaken, the Dodd-Frank Act came after the Great Recession of 2008, if I'm not mistaken. And no, it's not. It hasn't been safe in the bank since the first Great Depression. Getting back into this morning for a second, the FDIC, it looks good. It looks good on a bank. It looks good when they say your money's protected up to $100,000 per account. But there are things to consider. The biggest is they give themselves 100 years to get you your money back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting here in my 40s. So in order to get my money back and get paid, I'm gonna have to live to be 140 something. You know what I'm saying? So that's a huge concern for me. And then on top of this, the fact that they don't have everybody's money. It's the FDIC is a 100-year long promise to pay. I don't really want to put my money in a place where they give me a 100-year promise to pay. We'll hit you back up in 100 years or so, if the country's still here. Big T Barbecue. I'm surprised they aren't taxing firearms annually. How dare you? How dare you? You stole part of my show tomorrow. We're talking about this. We're talking about a lot of things tomorrow, but that's actually on there. And I think, to your point, Big T, I think within 10 years, we're going to see that happen. Similar to what we do with land ownership, because they don't want you owning guns or land. And I think they're going to start to come after it financially if they can't get rid of the Second Amendment. Laura Wolf, credit is the devil. People used to save for what they wanted. So credit is financial slavery. Once you're on the hook for a certain amount of credit and you owe people money, your options are limited at that point because you have to pay the money back or your stuff gets seized. They know this. All right. Uh, People have bankrolled money, in the banking sector off of this. They want people on credit, right? They're pushing credit. That's why it's so easy to get a credit card, but it's so hard to pay off the debt for it with the interest and stuff. The second part of this comment, people used to save for what they wanted. To be fair, all right, and I understand where you're coming from, and that's a good philosophy to have. But we were just talking this morning about the average price of a new car. Cars did not used to cost $40,000 brand new. Okay. Back in the day, way on back, it was easier to save 2 or $3,000. Homes do not cost back then what they cost right now. Um, and the wages have not kept up with the cost of living. And so it's really hard. College would be another great example, right? Some people that haven't been in college in 50 years, they're like, well, I paid my way through college by working at Dairy Queen, which is awesome. If you did that, fantastic. But when you go to college now and it's $60,000, imagine how many hours you're going to have to work at Dairy Queen to pay that off. They've priced people out of certain things, and the only way to get these things, and depending on what you do as a career, you may need a degree, you may need a car. You know, it may not be a want, it may be a need. Now you can go with the used car and things like this, but the used car market has gotten so crazy that a lot of people have to go into debt for used cars at this point. So things cost way too much. People are making way too little. And then on top of what they're making, they're skimming so much off in taxes that it's pathetic. Finally, Eddie Oaks. And this was from a video that we did yesterday. I saw this comment, but I'd already filmed the rundown. I said, I got to get this comment in. He said, wow, John, I agree with your message this morning, but you came off as and being harsh and scolding today. So I may have, and I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be harsh to the people that were watching the video. You know, not the viewers here at Prepper Nation. I wasn't trying to scold anybody here at Prepper Nation. That message was aimed at creators, certain creators, all right, because they know what they're doing. Um, and I'm trying to find a good way to put this. So when people watch videos here on YouTube, like I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I've accepted this. Some people are like, man, piss on that dude. He's his son too much. I'm gonna go over here. So everybody finds their favorite creators, okay? And as they're watching their favorite creators, especially over years, they connect with this person. And I'll go out of my way to try and connect with people in chat and stuff. Like, for example, Lord Eagle. I know he's going through some physical stuff right now, and I've been saying prayers for the dude. But there's a relationship of trust at some point, meaning viewers trust, and they should trust the creators that they're watching. And there are certain creators that I think abuse that trust for money, for financial gain. So this, please, brother, understand this was not directed at the people that are watching Prepper Nation every morning or every afternoon. It's more along the lines of creators who are trying to make a dollar and they don't care that people trust them when they watch them. They're just abusing that and they're trying to make money off of them, you know, and if you want to make money on YouTube, great. You know, I haven't announced it yet. I'm going to announce it at some point. Um, we are going to have a sponsor on this channel. One. All right. Because I believe in the product. And I'll explain why when that time comes. Um, but the thing is, I don't like the idea of lying to people and telling them this is a great product, taking some money over here on the side and then sticking people with things they don't need. You understand? So with this whole getting into the alert thing, which again, hopefully did not end the world, and this video is actually getting out to people. um, the point I was trying to make yesterday morning is certain creators will whip people up into a frenzy on purpose, scare them on purpose, and then they will abuse that relationship of trust for financial gain. And I think that's very dishonest. And I think they know that they're doing it on purpose. And if so, shame on them. I'll scold them all day long. You know, I'll come off as harsh on them all day long. But please don't think it was directed toward you folks here at Prepper Nation. So that's it. That's today's rundown. Tomorrow morning, you will want to be there. Uh, on YouTube, you will want to be there for the morning video, especially at the very beginning. I'm just saying. Y'all take care. God bless.